The rain had returned to Ash Hollow that morning. A light, patient drizzle that made the roof of my old cottage sound like it was remembering something. I had just turned 70 the month before, and even though I lived alone now, I wasn't lonely. Not in the way I used to be. The years had aged me gently, but the silence had weathered me harder. The cottage had belonged to my parents before me, and their parents before them. It sat just beyond the old churchyard, surrounded by creeping ivy and memories. After Charles passed 8 years ago, the house became both my sanctuary and my cell. Some days I'd sit on the front porch for hours, sipping lukewarm tea and watching the trees sway like dancers trapped in slow time. Other days I didn't open the curtains at all. That particular morning I decided to open the study door. It had remained closed since Charles's funeral. I didn't have a good reason why. I just hadn't been ready. But something tugged at me that day. The kind of invisible tug you don't fight because it feels older than you. Dust greeted me in a rush, as if the room exhaled. The shelves still held Charles's books, a mix of gardening guides and mystery novels. I ran my fingers along the spine of a familiar one, then paused. The wallpaper behind the shelf was peeling, revealing old plaster underneath. Something caught my eye. A slight gap in the boards. Without thinking, I pulled at the loose corner. The wall gave way more easily than expected, and behind it, neatly wrapped in a cloth, was a leather-bound book. I didn't know what it was at first, but when I opened it, my breath caught. It was my mother's handwriting. Her diary. I hadn't known it even existed. The first page was dated June 12, 1953. I sat down, the floor beneath me cold but grounding, and began to read. Her words were so intimate, so vulnerable. I felt like I was intruding. She spoke of the early days with my father, of her fear during the polio epidemic, of nights she couldn't sleep because of the baby crying upstairs, me. And then silence. 7-year gap. The entries resumed again in 1960. Her handwriting shakier. I didn't speak of what I saw in the woods that day, she wrote. Because I knew no one would believe me. That sentence chilled me. Entry after entry hinted at something or someone she encountered near the creek behind our property. At first, I thought it was simply the imaginings of a lonely woman. But her descriptions were vivid, consistent, and alarmingly detailed. A figure dressed in gray. Eyes that reflected no light. A presence she couldn't shake. She began to avoid the woods. She wrote about dreams that made her wake up crying. My father, she said, never took her seriously. She stopped writing again in 1962. Closed the diary. Suddenly, I was 12 again, remembering how she would stare out the window at dusk, never blinking. How she'd light candles for no reason and insist I stay inside after dinner. Why hadn't I noticed the fear in her eyes? I took the diary with me to the kitchen and made tea. I felt unsettled, not afraid exactly, but haunted by her silence. All those years I'd seen her as cold, distant. I thought she didn't love me the way mothers should. But now I realized she was protecting me. From something. Or someone. I spent the next week reading every page. Her last entry was in 1971. By then I had already left for college. She wrote, "If Lorraine ever finds this, I hope she forgives me. I did what I had to." Forgives her. What had she done? I couldn't stop thinking about the figure in the woods. So I went back there. The creek was shallow now, choked with fallen leaves and time. I stood where she said she'd seen it. And for a long moment, I felt nothing but wind and memory. Until I turned around. There was no one there. But I felt it cold certain. That night I dreamed of her. My mother, younger than I'd ever seen her. She stood in my kitchen, smiling softly. "You found it," she said. I woke up with tears on my cheeks. The discovery changed me. I began writing again, something I hadn't done since my 40s. Not just journal entries, but long letters I'd never send, stories I'd never publish. It was like her words gave me permission to find mine. And it made me wonder. How many other women had secrets tucked into the walls of their lives? How many had suffered quietly, never feeling seen. One afternoon, I gathered some of my paintings and sketches, most of them landscapes I'd been quietly making over the years, and brought them to the community center. They now hang in a little hallway near the back. A plaque below them reads, "In memory of voices left unheard." The diary is still with me. I keep it in a drawer near the fireplace. Some nights I take it out and read just a page or two. I feel closer to her now than I ever did growing up. Sometimes love arrives too late to be spoken aloud. But it can still be heard, between the pages, in the quiet, in the rain.